everyone. I'm your host, Shashi, with you all on Global Women Dialogue Talk Show to create more voice for women and by women. As you are hearing from me, for women and by women, and each time you are seeing a new speaker who is carrying the experience as well as the knowledge and wisdom to share with us. In the same way, in today's our episode, our today's guest is connecting with us from Florida, USA, Tina. She serves as an executive advisor at Frisbee Group. She is a certified executive coach who has 38 years of experience, as well as she serves as the president councils of St. Thomas Aquinas College. She has her own coaching institute or her own company called Epiphany, and as well as she is an honorary ambassador of Female Wave of Change organization. As you are hearing from me about her experience, about her advisory work, about her coaching work, about her part of educational society as well. So let's welcome our today's guest and hear from her what she is caring for us to inspire and motivate. Welcome, Tina, on our Women Dialogue Talk Show.
Thank you so much. Thank you for having me.
So, Tina, as we are aware that you are well experienced, you are carrying more than 38 years of experience of coaching, and as well as you have worked in different positions in your career path as well. So, let's start talking about coaching. When we hear about coaching, nowadays it's very common. We hear everywhere, but nowadays a lot of advertisement, a lot of things comes online when you are on social media or anywhere on platform. Those lot of pop-ups comes for this coaching, that coaching, mental health coaching, sleep coaching, marriage coaching. A lot of coaching comes. So when we are talking about what one should understand when we are talking about coaching, what it means to be coaching.
So, Sashi, I agree with you 100%. Okay, even when I decided, I took the decision, but it wasn't something I was planning to do. Even way back then, which was 2008, every second person was a coach, and I said to my mentor, who was the great Jill Marcus, an incredible powerhouse in South Africa that, eventually became the governor of the central bank. So arguably more powerful than the president. But when Jill Marcus said to me in 2008, Tina, you need to become a coach. I pushed back on it because I said to her, everybody is a coach, and she said, no. Take a formal qualification, get accredited, and share the myriad of experience that you've had. The trigger at that point was that she knew that I'd blown the whistle on an organization, a big one, government one. And I was advised to just lie low, almost underground for 3 months whilst the case was, and I said to her, what now? What am I going to do? And she said, become a coach. I realized at that moment that actually I'd been coaching all my career. So by profession, I am a teacher. That's where the education passion comes in. But of course, you can't earn a living being a teacher. I was a single parent and I needed to earn. So I had, transitioned into the world of commerce. But as I say, I realized that many people, many of my peers would say, thank you for your counsel. Thank you for coaching me. Thank you for mentoring me. So I realized I'd always been doing it. And even in certain of my roles where, I'm an operations executive, for example, I'm not focused on coaching. I am coaching all the time. Of course, I've also always had, private clients. And so I myself have a coach, and I feel that it's really important for everybody to have at least 2 or 3 mentors, okay, and a coach, if possible. Right. We can't do this alone. All of us are where we are today because
here I just would like to stop you for a while. When we are talking about coach, why I would like to ask, because our audience and listeners, they might be thinking, what is the purpose of having a coach and how they can choose the right one in whatever area. As I mentioned, like we hear a lot of different kind of coaches. So what way they can choose the right coach, and how it is helpful for them to take the help of right coach at the right time. So that's what if you can reflect some light on that point.
Certainly. So coaching is not therapy. That's the very first thing everyone needs to understand, because there's a lot of misinterpretation there. For me, what I would say is that the coach needs to be selected on areas of similarity. Okay. At the end of the day, every type of coaching should look at a holistic human being. Although my specialty is leadership and executive coaching, it doesn't mean that I'm not looking at the whole human being. Whilst the majority of a session would be, this is your strategy, this is what you deliver, this is how we're going to get you there, that human being has come to you as a whole. So when selecting a coach, look at their life experience, because the lived experience is infinitely more valuable than any qualification. It unfortunately, that's, and we know this when we look at learning styles, 10% is the actual knowledge, 20% is interaction with other people, and 70% is on the job learning. So look for someone who has had the experience that you are aiming for, or that you aspire for to be. You can't, for example, choose a life coach that is inexperienced, that hasn't been exposed to life, that hasn't been exposed globally, that hasn't been exposed to, dare I say, crises and even trauma, because it's when we can identify with each other that we are most useful. So look at the coach's life experience.
Right. Yeah, that's so true, that how one can identify by seeing their life experiences as well as their previous work and their own coach's life and work, a part of education. Because that's why I bring this question, because every time when we are doing, and we bring a lot of our coaches and a lot of leadership and a lot of work, but always, like, for audience, this is a question, how we can identify who is right for me and how we can select, because that's number one thing when they are selecting, because afterwards they are into the coaching program, they are following the steps. So moving ahead, Tina, as you were mentioning, you have years of experience. Would you like to share some of your experience with our audience? What kind of work you entail and how it benefits the particular who is, taking coaching, who is looking for some kind of support or help?
Certainly, if I may just wrap up on our previous point, a good coach will always offer the first session pro bono, no charge. And it is in that session where both the coach and the coachee determine if there's a good fit. You really can't be a good fit for everyone. Let's face it, there must be that spark, that bond, that initial, okay, I could learn to trust this individual, because it's all based on trust. So that would be step number one. My experiences are very wide and varied in the coaching world. One of the really difficult coaching clients that I had, not that the client was difficult, the issue that was brought to the table was someone who was very, very disgruntled in their role. This is a C-suite individual, very senior. And after 2 or 3 sessions, I was about to say, look, this isn't working for us. Let's step away. I will refund you. When he broke down and shared the circumstances he was working under. And a long story short, he needed to blow the whistle. But what was happening for me is that I had triggers going off, okay, because we all have them. And often, you hear the acronym, I mean, not the acronym, you hear the cliche going through your head, which is, it's the straw that broke the camel's back. Often it's not the circumstances that trigger any individual, it's our previous experiences, and someone just says one thing or there's one circumstance and that trigger goes off. And so everything he was saying was triggering me, and it stretched me as a coach to say, stay focused. This is not about you. Stay objective and step this man through this process. Allow the process to take control. It's never about the coach, okay? But it was difficult. So I share that to say there are times when our personal experience is triggered. And that's when you really have to be on your guard and to trust what you've learned as a coach. And so that was hugely fulfilling for me, because first of all, I realized how much I grew, but the best part was that he did blow the whistle, because he knew he needed to. But of course, it's such a difficult thing, because he knew he'd lose his job. He knew he'd probably lose his marriage, et cetera, et cetera. And, when you are a breadwinner and if I do this, I'm going to battle financially, and so will my family. Right. It's difficult, but he did the right thing, and we're still in contact today, because that's many years ago. So that was a phenomenal experience that I like to share. Of course, there's so many others. My main focus in coaching is, to empower people. So there are also several people who, after a 6 or 8 month coaching, I'll say, we have to cut it now. And they say, no, but, and I say, no, because if you can't stand alone now, then I have not empowered you. So, those are the, and it's hugely fulfilling to see someone go on to master what they wanted to do. And that, that is the thrill.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that hearing about your story, your experiences, and same time, the impact you are leaving on someone's life is really remarkable. So, Tina, when we are talking about empowering lives, it seems very easy, but it really takes a lot of lot of content, lot of things when we are talking about empowerment. It's not just about sharing the knowledge. It's not just about giving some tools, but it's like, as you said earlier, holistic approach we try to give them. Empowering life, developing leadership. uh, it seems very easy, and nowadays everyone is saying, okay, we are leader, right? But here we have with us today who is experienced and who are working with one-to-one with people. What it seems like, how the journey seems like, how much effort one has to require when someone is approaching towards to you, what kind of mindset they should bring when they are coming to you. These are some basic questions, but uh, I think it will be helpful for our audience and our listeners to understand when they are approaching, whether they are approaching with right tools, right mindset, or are they needing something else.
So if I hear you correctly, you're asking about the coachee approaching?
Yes.
Okay. I think what's important to bear in mind, you should always, a potential coachee should always present one issue, not a whole stack of them. Okay, one at a time. You often hear people, say they want to be coached, and then they want to. Let's take women, for example. They want to build a great career. They want to be a good wife. They want to be a good mother. That you need to select one at a time. Certainly, they can all be addressed, but it's let's build from the foundation upwards. You can't approach a coach and bombard them with stacked questions. So it's, what is your priority right now? First of all, what that does is it already starts to focus the coachee, okay? Because we've all got a lot. So as it starts to focus, what is the thing you need right now in the next 2 or 3 months? And then develop from there. So I would say, give it some thought. Okay. Coaching is not a silver bullet. It's not going to resolve everything. Let's face that. But it is going to hold up a mirror, okay, to the individual, because the belief is that everyone has what it takes within them. But a coach that can ask powerful questions evokes and extracts that out of each individual.
Right.
And so, that is what it takes. Give it some thought before you decide. And you may need 3 or 4 coaches with expertise in different fields to get to where you want to be. Plus, it's lifelong learning. It's not a quick fix, because as life changes, which it does constantly, you have different needs, and different stages of life. So I would say that's the biggest thing to look at. And then to dedicate time for that personal development. This can't just happen, in between everything else. You have to set aside time, and you have to be consistent. Consistency is probably the one thing that differentiates people from good to great.
Yeah, yeah. And I think that, as you said, it's not just a quick bullet, and this is very often it's kind of misconception when somebody is approaching, okay, I'm going there to solve this problem, and they want to just get that quick fix solution. But that's kind of like, as you said, that's very important when they are approaching, what kind of approach, what kind of mindset they should have. There is no quick fix solution or as a magic bullet. So Tina, as you are talking about coach and coachee experience, what kind of things they should do, what kind of things they should carry when they are doing here, when we are talking about you develop leadership and empowerment, would you like to talk a bit more about what means as a leadership, what means to be empowerment?
With pleasure. So leadership, to be a leader, you have to have followers. Okay, there's so many people who say, I'm leading, and actually there's no one following them. So, okay, leaders are very decisive, and leaders do not conform. Okay, great leaders throughout history did not conform. Okay, so in coaching leadership, those are the basics that one would look for before determining, is this individual a leader or are they a manager? And there are distinct differences. And I get really upset when I see books that talk about leadership and management as the same thing. Okay, they're fundamentally different. A leader is the custodian of the vision of the company. The manager is custodian of the processes and procedures in the company. So when we talk leadership, we're really looking at how empathetic is this individual, okay? Because if you don't have a high emotional intelligence, you cannot lead. End of story. Unfortunately, that's the way it is. Doesn't matter how good your IQ is. No one's going to hang around long enough if your EQ, your emotional intelligence, isn't, well developed. Because people without emotional intelligence are abrasive, they're short, they're rude, they certainly don't have empathy. So that's where we start. And then, of course, as the coachee who's being coached on leadership brings issues, because let's face it, in the workplace, it's never about knowledge at that point in your career. Honestly, there's very little that's new. Even if it is something in technology, someone shows you, or you Google it and have a look, and you can do it. But we never ever are able to handle everything that people bring to us. Okay, it's always the human element that challenges a leader. Certainly there are factors, like the economy and society, but it's the people. It's the people that you are responsible for that create the various issues. And so it's looking at that, it's saying often there are no right or wrong decisions, but as a leader, you need to make a decision to move forward so that you're not a bottleneck to your people. And it's always then, is the leader creating other leaders? All right, so that's where the empowerment comes in. A good leader is constantly building other leaders. And when I say empowerment, it is absolutely everything from opening doors for these people to seeing that you discuss with people how you reached a decision, why you reached a decision, inclusive of everybody, but at the same time making that decision sometimes against half of the team that sat in advising. And then, it's, as Jeff Bezos says, disagree and commit. Okay. So have it out in the boardroom, okay, as much as you want, because it's often in disagreement that you get the best outcome for that team, that company. But once you leave that boardroom, you are united. Okay, so it's the disagree and commit. Commit to what the leader has decided. Right. So, that's, I can talk for hours on leadership, but just
I agree, because that's what you do, and that's what your all experience and knowledge you have. Yeah, but it's just we were sharing a bit of with our audience how one can take it in the terms of when we are talking about leadership, empowerment. So, Tina, here you shared very nicely what way one should know the difference between leadership and manager, as well as what kind of characteristics one has to carry when we are talking about manager versus leader. When we are talking all these things, and we are on a platform of women dialogue, so here it comes about developing leadership and empowerment in women. So how you see, you are yourself a very successful women. What kind of leadership do you carry?
So I myself, my style is servant leadership, okay, leading from the back. I'm a quiet leader. I like to push others forward. There have been times in my career when I had to be the face, and the leader in the public eye. It is uncomfortable for me, because by nature I am an introvert, believe it or not. You have to want to lead. Okay, it is something that you have to decide. Am I going to put myself out there? And incidentally, every one of us is a leader. Okay, the woman who is a homemaker and a mother at home who never ever goes into the workplace is a leader. Okay. Yeah. I always say we lead without title. Okay. Every one of us has a responsibility to take the lead. And so for myself, I never set out to even have a career as such. I wanted to teach, which is, why I said earlier that by profession, that is who I am. And then life happened and I had to earn more. Okay. So it's not as though I ever aspired to big positions. Never. Okay. I also have a lot of traditional beliefs. So whilst I'm proudly South African and born and bred, and so were my parents, the bloodline is Greek. Okay. And so I was brought up to be a good housewife and mother.
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of that remains. A lot of the traditional beliefs remain. So servant leadership is what my style is, what suits me best. And I love seeing others shine because I'm leading from the back, you know, so
Yes,
that's
yeah. So when we are talking about as you carry your own leadership style, how the way other can develop their own leadership style. As you mentioned, we all are leader in our own way, whether women they are homemaker or they are into work, professional life, or whatever level they are in their life. They all are leader, or not only women, even all every human being. So how they can get that sense or how they can develop that?
I think it has to come naturally. I don't think you can look at the different styles of leadership and say, that's the one I want to be. I think it has to be part of who you are. You know, when you act out of character, it's not sustainable. So I think there, you know, and many coaches use several tools of personality profiling. I think you have to consider, who am I really? How am I when no one's looking? Because that is the style that you then are going to be able to sustain and be known for. You know, as I said earlier, if you haven't got followers, you're not a leader. How would people look at you and say, you know, okay, that person is you know, very authoritative. They take the lead, and again, I want to emphasize, it doesn't have to be in the workplace. You know, one of the videos that I kind of use in every presentation is of a young boy in India who mobilizes people to move a tree trunk out of the way. It can come from anywhere. And, you know, they actually say when you look at children, you know, you can actually see which one is a natural born leader. But leadership can be learned. It is, I think that the greatest leaders are those that have enormous courage. Okay, it takes courage to lead. And courage is from the French word coeur, which means heart. So it's, is your heart in this? You know, are you authentically a leader? And that's when you start to look at your true self, your true strengths, and then you would know, you know, what type of leadership. But also to ask those who, you know, either report to you in the workplace, or if it's in a family, ask them, how do I come across? One of the things we don't do is ask for feedback. It's hard. Sometimes you don't like what you hear, but it's critical because we all grow through feedback. You know, the good, the bad, and the ugly. Ask, how do you see me as a leader? What are the you know, the pros and the cons of my leadership style? And that way you then develop and know you know, what type of leader you are.
Right. So here we bring about what we can find the distinctive nature of being a leader, or how they can develop their leadership qualities if they are looking forward in that path. We are on a Global Women Dialogue talk show, and how you find this platform is helping to create leader, or what way you see it?
Well, first of all, you know, I want to salute you for doing these talks, because really that's what it takes. Okay, at the end of the day, we're all women, and we all have many, many common thoughts, common goals, common fears. We really all alike, okay? And it's only through dialogue that we start to give each other permission to say certain things. So honestly, your work is invaluable, and the time and the interest that you take in others is, as I say, I salute you. This is what has to happen, is that we need to listen to one another. We need to hear and to see, wow, you know, if she did that, so can I. That's all it takes, is role models, okay? It's you know, how do you pull through certain aspects of life? Because life is not fair, let's face it. Okay, but once you see someone who's gone through what you're going through, and you've heard what she has said, and you've seen that she didn't just survive, she thrived after that. It gives you the confidence to say, I'm going to do this. So that's really what I believe needs to continue to happen. And it's a commitment. And that's why I say I admire you, because it's time, it's energy, it's giving, okay? And it's only in the giving to each other that we inspire one another. Unfortunately, and there's so many stories in that field, and I don't want to go there at all, but we have to acknowledge that a lot of women don't share. And we need to break that mold. You know, for centuries, we've blamed the men. I can tell you it's not that, okay? The greatest champions,
we need to change the media image that women gossips and women, pull down each other. No, it's no more like that.
No more.
I feel like that's what the purpose, and that's what I always say. We are on this platform to inspire, to motivate, to grow and develop together. We are not here to pull down each other.
Absolutely, absolutely. So it's the generosity of spirit. A generous spirit shares, and you know exactly what you're doing is what is needed, you know. And then taking it one step further, where women will coach one another for free. No, this is not an economic thing here. Women will advise one another. Women will listen to one another. There's no ego involved. That's what it takes, is to say we can only succeed if we all move forward, if we all break those paradigms and those preconceived ideas. So that's, you know, that is the next step for everyone.
Thank you. Thanks a lot. Tina, last but not least, what one message would you like to give to our audience and our viewers?
Oh, I think what's really significant is that it's August. And in South Africa, August is Women's Month. So I'm thrilled to do this, you know, on the first day of August. And I'd like to, you know, just tell you why it's August, why August is Women's Month in South Africa, because it's a hugely inspiring story. It's the truth, it's history, you can Google it. 65 years ago, on the 9th of August, 20,000 women got together and marched and changed the law in South Africa. Now, 65 years ago, there were no cell phones. There were no cars for these women to drive, but they got together, 20,000 of them, and they had their voices heard. And, you know, in 2006, I had the enormous honor of bringing together two of these original marches, and I filmed them and I honored them at a great event we had. But one of them, Mama Bertha, who has sadly left this life, she challenged the young women on camera. She said to them, you know, at the time it was the 50th anniversary, okay, and she said, 50 years ago, this is what we did. What are you going to do to effect change? And so it was a mammoth moment, probably the highlight for me of that role. It, you know, it often comes up in my mind where I hear her words, what are you going to do to make the world a better place for women, for other women, you know? And so I think that is what I'd like to leave, and then to honor those women in South Africa for their bravery, even today. You know, they're fighting turmoil and unrest and COVID all at the same time with very little resources.
Yeah.
And I think that's the thought I'd love to leave, is that above all, we are resilient. We are created to be resilient, and there's nothing we can't do if we unite and support one another.
Thank you. Thank you. Thanks a lot for a great message. And that's all I would like to say to our audience. As our today's speaker shared the experiences as well as the importance of this month, with this brave story, courageous movement, and the message she is saying, what way we are going to leave the impact and what way we are doing something in our life. So that's what I would like to say. As always, I say, inspire and motivate to each other, grow together and develop together. And that's what we are here today. If you have any questions, put in the comment below, as well as if you would like to get connect with our today's speaker, Tina Thompson, we are going to put her details in the description as well. And please don't forget our cause, our purpose. Please support us by sharing and by donating some of the whatever way you can donate. We are putting link in the description as well, so we can continue this journey to empower, to inspire, and to grow together and to develop together. With this note, thank you. Stay safe, stay connected. Take care. Bye-bye.